Hey there, guys. Sean Michael here from OnMSFT. We're here to talk Microsoft. This episode 7. Lots of news. I don't think there's much debate that this is the biggest news in any Talk Microsoft episode that we've had.
So far, yeah.
Get the cat out of the bag. Now, it's been out for came out probably just after our last episode, but Windows 10 on ARM, so that's the biggest news, but there's also other news. Got new builds, 3D stuff, the Project Evo, Xbox news related to VR, Surface Hub. I mean, this is, if you're going to end the year, because this is our last show of the year before the New Year's, at least, so we're going to be taking a few weeks off for the holidays. And so what better way to end it with all this big news? How you doing, Sean?
Doing fantastic. I'm really excited. I think I'm really excited to talk about Windows on ARM. I feel like that might be the biggest news of the year. Possibly, in my opinion, bigger than even the creators update.
Yeah, probably so, really. I mean, that's big news. The creators update is going to bring some cool new features, but this could revolutionize so much about computing, mobile, tablet. It's so many different. We're going to try to look at multiple different angles on this one. It's really exciting stuff.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So shall we dive right in then?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, so Windows 10 on ARM. What does that mean? That basically means that Windows 10 Windows 10, the full operating system, will be able to run on mobile ARM chips. So that's the same chips in your Windows phones. That's the same chip in your Android phones. It's really, really cool. It's basically what Windows RT should have always been, right, Sean?
Yeah, well, that's very true.
Yeah, so it's really exciting because it really opens up a lot of potential. For those of you who've been following us for the last several episodes, it seems like, Sean, almost every episode we talk about the dream of having a phone that can run full Windows, and it's always kind of this far off, like, oh, that's a nice dream to have, kind of sci-fi, but it's never going to actually happen. So when the news broke that, oh, by the way, Microsoft just made Windows 10 that can fully run Photoshop and Premiere and all your regular, software on mobile devices, on a mobile chip, not an Intel x86, 32-bit, 64-bit chip, but on a mobile chip. I was like, wow, okay, we're finally here.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. So there was a video shown off. It was actually at the conference that you talked about last week. And so, I don't remember, was it Win HEC? Is that what it was?
Yes. Yep. That's
Yes.
right.
So they showed off this, and there was a video of them, and they showed you in the little, about section or whatever section it showed. They're running on a processor, but then they're Photoshop.
Yep.
With not a mobile version, but actually, full Photoshop.
Yep.
And it's great. It's I think that we're going to put the car soon, but I guess to keep this is probably at first this is going to affect non-phone devices. This isn't an announcement of a Surface phone or anything like that. Now we're all going to speculate about how it'll affect that, and of course it will.
Yeah.
But right now this is big news for a plethora of reasons. Snapdragon chips, because obviously we've had a few days to look at this. They have cellular connectivity and charging and all these different things can be built into these chips.
Yep.
So there was all this talk about Intel, and they thought, oh well, they're going to make a phone processor. Then people were saying, oh well, you could never run full Intel this, you couldn't do a phone that works like that. And instead of having Intel, which is known for its PC processors, obviously they make really good ones, but instead of kind of them coming to a different form factor of mobile, we've seen a mobile processor, I don't want to say come up, because it's running it through emulation and all that stuff, but in effect, we're going to get full Windows 10 on a mobile chip.
Yeah.
And so you get the cellular connected device is what this is really going to get us. And that's true for a tablet or that type of device is going to be affected. Before we do anything about phones, this is going to have a major impact on cellular connected
Yeah.
devices that aren't necessarily
Yeah.
phones.
You know, I still have my Surface 2 that runs Windows RT. I can't bring myself to get rid of it. My kids love it. And every time I use it, which is very rarely these days, I'm like, wow, you know, just the battery life, the way that it's so, you know, can elegantly turn on and off. Yeah, it really makes you realize that we need something on a mobile chip because, yeah, the high-powered processors, Intel Core i7s, those are great for being really productive, but there is definitely a huge market for having a mobile device and running full Windows on a mobile device. I think that's absolutely the best way to go.
And I think when you get there, I mean, obviously, we're gonna have to see it in effect in our hands, test it out, get reviews, that type of thing. But
Exactly.
when this does happen, if it goes as smoothly as we're kind of hoping, I have this image of a tablet. I mean, I know the tablets are two-in-ones now, but it's not just about mobile chips running it because that's a cool thing. I mean, it is. That's something that I assume a month ago people would have said, oh, they'll never do that. They're just going to push UWP. They'll never be able to get, these types of programs running on mobile. I'm sure that a month ago, a year ago, that's what we would have said. So that's cool technologically.
Yeah.
It's a marvel. It's a wonder, all that stuff. But I'm talking about fully connected, kind of these always-on devices where it can push through when you're on the move, when it's in your hand, like you said, that quick on and off. I mean, those things.
Battery life savings.
Yeah, the battery life should be significantly
That's the
better.
big one. That's the big one.
And then people have talked about, because they can do battery saving, they can put other things in the device, or maybe will it be thinner, or will they add some other features, or what could they do? I think this is great. I think a lot of people are okay with mobile stuff generally, but when you add, a few extra features, and then you add something like this, I mean, this could be really changing for Windows 10, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I do miss my Surface 2 24-hour battery life with my power cover. I'm looking forward to having that back again.
Yeah. I don't think your Surface 2 is going to get this update, though.
I'm hoping. I'm secretly hoping, right? I can hope. Yeah, it's probably not going to be supported. I think it's dead. But until they say no, I'm going to have a sliver of hope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did demo it on a Snapdragon 820, but what we've seen is that the first device running it will be running like a Snapdragon 835.
Yep. Well, that's super exciting. So then, of course, I was reading through the description, right, to see if there were any hints about, is this targeted more towards tablets, or is there anything about this going to be on a phone? And if you actually read very carefully what they said, they were extremely careful to make it device agnostic, right? So it does not mention that this is specifically for large formats or tablets. And it's like the way they worded it, it leaves it open for it to be on a phone as well, which I think, it's kind of, we're kind of seeing that coming, and we've heard reports for a while.
Yeah, well, I think that they're going to stay tight-lipped on any phone. And you know what? I am guessing that if they do come out with a Surface phone under that branding, it might have a name that we're not expecting.
Yeah.
That's not insider sources. That's just me speculating.
Yeah.
I think they might call it the Surface Mobile, or something, because they don't want it. I doubt they're going to spend all that. You wouldn't if they brought this technology, which is an if, but if they brought in Win32 and all this stuff on a continuum, and it becomes the that you and I have been talking about every episode of the show. PC, you have a mobile device with mobile connectivity. It can run, probably have to be in continuum to make it work. Pro's going to scale onto your phone, or full Photoshop's going to be it might be something like only full Windows apps. All of that, put all that together, phone, where phone is right in the name.
Yeah. Yep.
Surface the mobility of the person, and how the device allows you to bring Windows wherever you go.
Yeah.
Show them how with your entire phone PC experience. I don't know what format. I don't even know if it's going to exist. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Take that device. It worked on Windows 10. People might have said, "Why do I could use Continuum over the lock screen on Windows 10 PC," and then doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So the one thing that I have a question on is right now Windows 10 is not, even in tablet mode, it's still not optimized for a mobile small screen device such as a phone. So does this mean that we're going to be seeing also a separate mobile skin on Windows 10?
I think they could do something. I doubt, I doubt they would have. Well,
By the way, Sean, your audio is cutting out again in your video, so I don't know if you want to try turning off your webcam.
All right, is that better?
Yeah, yep, I can hear you clearly.
All right, thanks. I think that skin, and I don't think that's impossible. You already see on a 2-in-1, well, technically, you have PC mode, tablet mode, not have a phone mode or a mobile mode, small screen mode.
Yeah.
I know it would take time to be worth it, sure.
Yep. Yeah.
It might be permanent, obviously if they would lock, if you're
Yep.
device or whatever, obviously they're just going to keep it in mobile mode.
Yeah. So a few I guess about a year or two ago, I heard the reason why Samsung's massive screen phones are becoming so popular is because for many people around the world, this doesn't apply so much to developed countries like USA or the UK, but for many people around the world, their only computer is actually their phone, right? And so
Right.
This having the potential for a full PC to be on your phone, I think opens up that opportunity drastically. So we're talking about billions of people in developing countries. If their only device is their phone, now if they have this, they have, yes, a phone, but they also have a full PC whenever they need to, without having to have all these different devices. I think sometimes people forget in developed countries that, yeah, maybe you can afford to have a beefy computer and also a phone, so why would you need both? But that's not really the target market, right?
Yeah, well, and then on top of that, we've always, price come. This is going to be, I'm sure it'll be expensive. Whatever device comes out running this, tablet, phone, whatever, it's going to be pricey, and I think, on the latest Snapdragon, those are sell, but they are still, they're not free. As cheap as a low-end or mid-range phone, my guess. But yeah, I think there's that. I also think it's about compromises.
Yeah.
When you get it is now, people talk about, it's a good concept. This could be a phone. This in the future might be but things like not being able to multitask, UWPs that support Continuum, those restrictions where a concept is that a concept.
Yeah.
But when you have some can run full Windows 10 0, they didn't say little. Notice sometimes they'll say things with UWP. They go, oh, you can run this on all devices with very little changes to your code.
Yeah.
It says, yes, some companies still won't do this because they'll change something and then get it approved in a store.
Yeah.
But if it's no changes,
Yep.
run it. And so that's one less restriction. Well, support's coming next year anyway, so that's on the way. So that's one. So we're talking about this phone, tablet, or whatever. Honestly, like to me, if they brought in things like cellular messaging and phone calls, could probably live with. I probably wouldn't, but I well maybe having a small tablet or a phablet, 6, 7, 8 inch device that can do your messaging, that can use a Bluetooth so they're not holding it to their head, and then I mean, that's what we're talking about. I mean, it could make.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And I think you're cutting out a little bit more, Sean, even without the video. But yeah,
Well,
yeah,
you,
I'm super excited about this. I feel like this opens up a lot of potential opportunities. I think that yeah, we're gonna start seeing. Right now, we're kind of limited in what we think, is the potential opportunities for this phones, being plugged into monitors or tablets, but I think if you really think hard about what are some of the potential opportunities for this, there's a lot of applications that we're probably not even thinking about. Yeah, I'm seeing people talking about watches and how this might be able to be used on headsets, and yeah, I think there's a lot of amazing opportunities here.
am I going to get my Surface Watch?
Maybe one day. The Surface Band? I don't know.
The Surface Band
Surface Band.
with Continuum running full Windows 10.
Yeah.
You go up to holding your watch, and it just works.
I still laugh to this day when the announcement came out that Microsoft was discontinuing the Microsoft Band, how almost half the people thought Microsoft had some sort of music band or something. Oh man. Well, that's great news. Anything else to talk about on that, or shall we move on?
Well, I guess we can add, and then just brought it up, and I had it in our notes as well. Do you think it's going to affect the UWP app model? Oh, how will it affect it?
I think that the UWP app model I think that's great for cross-platform compatibility, but I think if nothing else, it's also great for UI, right? It's getting people to use the mobile user interface, right? So if you want something you're not going to use full Photoshop on a tiny screen, right? But if there's a UWP app, I think that's where it comes down to. It's about making stuff more accessible on a small touchscreen interface. And I think that's where not the power of the UWP is, but I think that's kind of why developers should pursue UWP apps and not regular Windows apps, is for that touchscreen interface on smaller screens.
I think the advantage running full Windows 10, there's quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
There are getting the programs back, like a full Photoshop, and
yeah.
But in addition to that, getting full Windows 10 actually gets you access to full Windows 10. An operating system is much more mature than Windows 10.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So even if, I have full Windows 10 on tablets now, so that part. But then you combine that with the cellular and the instant on-off about battery saving. But to me, eventually I think a lot of companies will make UW. There also needs to be some more access. Over time, they'll have to get power, some more APIs, a little more system access. And I don't think it's going. I've been pushing it really hard. I don't think they're going to get rid of it.
Yep. So exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think UWP apps are going away. I think they're going to be still pushed pretty hard. I think this just is complementary. So,
yeah. I think another implication of this is Snapdragon. The newest Snapdragon processors have like quick charge. And Super Mario.
I'm trying to turn off my notifications here. I don't know what's going on.
Disturb on my phone, mate. I think for tablets now that charges with micro USB, and bring in the latest processor, and if it has the latest form of, but on full Windows 10, so it's not a phone, but it's just a tablet. But then I get quick charge, and they were talking about this, a 50% in this amount of minutes, 25% in this, and like a half hour. It was some ridiculous. I don't want to Don't quote me on that, but I think that's a
Yeah.
it's the benefit of these chips built in to the Snapdragon product, and with these, and you get some of these advantages that we see on that Qualcomm has done.
Yeah.
Great for phones. What do people want? Battery life.
Yep.
Being able to charge it up quickly once it dies.
Yep.
And those advantages to come over to PC or full tablets, that's a really big advantage.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm super excited about this. I'm really curious to see it on a phone and if they figure out a phone interface. And yeah, the future's looking bright, Sean. Lots of fun stuff coming our way.
I wonder how much work Microsoft to do to make a phone mode on full and just put the whole thing together. They could still use Windows 10 mobile mid-range, low-range, older devices, but work that would be.
Yeah,
We'll have to find out.
Yeah, I don't think, honestly, if they just made the start screen a little bit different and then focused on UWP apps for when the phone's in phone mode, I think that's all they need to do, to be honest.
You've already seen things like the version of, it's going small to big. See the continuum notification to look more like the PC notification center. But we've also, in the latest builds, we've seen the PCs look more like the mobile start menu or start.
Yes.
And so we're going to get this unification sections to the point where it is like this.
Yep. And that's what Microsoft's been hinting at for a long time, is this unification. Well, that's why everything's called Windows 10 now. Technically, Xbox is also Windows 10. It's on that.
Which we've seen Xbox today. That's great.
Yeah. So it's the grand unification. There will be one Windows 10.
Yes, and if anyone saw the latest Terminator, no, that wasn't it. Hold on, it's been out. Spoilers for whatever Terminator recently was it? So go watch it, pause us, come back, whatever. Basically, Windows 10 tries to take over the Earth. The plot of that movie is an operating that runs on your phone, tablet, and your PC.
Yeah, that's right.
The artificial intelligence machine that's made of a blue holographic creature. Sounds familiar. So,
Yeah.
And then it was sponsored by Microsoft.
Yep, that's right.
In the movie. It was about the blue AI taking over the Earth, and it was sponsored, but whatever.
Yeah.
Unification.
That's right. And speaking of Cortana and unification, there's been some exciting updates to Cortana, right, in the latest build?
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Build 14986, so we have a video of all these and that type of thing, but to run over it here a bit, so there have been quite a few, and as you said, Cortana, big improvements, and we've already talked about how going to be improving in the future, competing and Google, whatever the home thing is. And yeah, I think you're starting to see some of that in new commands. Lock my PC, prompt before, because I don't want someone's PC anymore.
Yeah.
PC, shut down my PC, restart, put my raise volume, lower volume, what song is playing, play, title, genre, on, app, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Cortana getting a lot better, and that kind of is what we're going to talk about later, Project Evo, where you talk well, if you want to be able to control with your voice, it's going to be great to have some, system-related commands. You can see that sometimes. You can say turn on, turn off, whatever, and now, I think that's great. So that Cortana, you also have a variety in terms of, I'm trying to think here what's actually worth. They changed where your system is or not. I don't know if that's worth talking about, but and it is important. Windows Ink has a few but it's mostly, it's not a huge deal. But I would is that Cortana change there. I There's some they fixed a lot of that known issues list got a lot. I think Cortana is probably one of the most notable in terms of usable features. What about you? Any other thing from this build stick out?
I think that personally I don't use Windows Ink as much as I should. I really want to use it, so I really enjoy seeing some of these updates, and it makes me all the more want to kind of dive in and get there. I do think it's really cool with what's happening with Cortana. I don't know how you feel, but I kind of feel like Cortana is playing catch up with Siri and Google now, but she's catching up pretty quickly. So with all these updates and with more that might come, I feel like she's closing in that gap pretty fast. I don't know, what are your opinions,
It could
Sean?
be, if I'm being completely honest, Cortana has a lot of and is being built architecturally very well. She's obviously, technically, Cortana's genderless in the video game. Cortana is a good idea that they obviously are investing in. I think that in implementation, she is a little bit behind. I think that, if I'm being honest, you see, and it's not just behind Siri or Google now, it's just Cortana should be.
Uh-huh.
I think it should be a little. I think it should be a little bit. I wish you could almost switch to I know they have voice control, built into itself. They've had that since before Cortana existed.
Yeah.
A mode, you could say say the prompt, because that happened earlier when I was watching a video on my Xbox. Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. But you could say yo, for the next minute and a half, I'm going to be saying commands. Just do that.
Yeah.
And I think something like that would. It's very segmented, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. When I just talking about AI assistants for a minute, when I'm in my house, or when I'm in the office or anywhere, I'm trying to think about what's natural. Very rarely do I actually say the person's name to get their attention. Most of the time I look at them and, hey, do you mind grabbing me the cup? Or, hey, can you turn off that light over there? Right? I would love the day we get where we don't have to mention the AI's name. Hey Google, hey Siri, hey Cortana. If we can just if they can just listen and obey.
you machine and obey.
Uh-huh. Oh man.
Isn't there a musical? Notre Dame, stay in here. If Cortana is going to be doing things like home automation, be smooth and not so awkward. Yeah. So I think some of these, you're seeing them focus on technology. It's not left behind. We regularly see she's getting more support. Even Cortana came to you for Android and iOS. So Microsoft's not ignoring. I feel like it's going to continue to get better and improve.
Yeah.
I think that they need to get a little more natural, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Cool. So that's the new Windows 10 build. So everyone's going to be getting a taste of that eventually. But for now, for those people in the Insider program, they get to see those early builds before others. So pretty exciting stuff.
Somebody brought something up in the comments, probably about Cortana so much. Did you see that Microsoft's going to be bringing devices?
Bring Cortana to which devices?
Internet of Thing devices with screens.
No, I didn't see that. It's the
so that's another fact. That's a Bolt man. There you go. Thank you. And I did see that earlier. So we might have that at any other time. So so Microsoft's going to bring. It's only I think if they have screens, but I think that could when you start getting more smart devices running around.
So I could say something like, "Hey Cortana, turn on my coffee pot."
Yeah, well, someone said, what was it? I think it was an MS Power user was saying that you could, actually activate. But also, we just admit that I think the biggest advantage of this Cortana attached to a fridge and a toaster. You can a fridge and a toaster, and then you can just stick it to Apple.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I think IoT, that'd be great too. Like yeah, I think that'd be a really big thing to bring Cortana to IoT.
Yeah.
In 2017.
Well, and I think that's what we focused on last week's episode was the Internet of Things and what that means, and how that holy grail still has not been met, despite Google's best efforts, beside Apple's best efforts, and now Microsoft's getting into it. Somebody's going to crack this eventually. Somebody's going to figure it out. It's going to be in everyone's homes. That hasn't happened yet. All the solutions right now are clunky. Somebody needs to figure out. The Holy Grail is still out there. It's still yet to be grabbed, and I'm excited for when that future is finally here.
Yeah. ZDNet. It said in a slide, talk, somebody showed off screens on a refrigerator and a thermostat. Hey, if you had like a full thermostat, Windows IO, pretty sweet, man. I really like some of this.
Yeah, so, well, let me just put it like this, Sean. If you could go out, do they have Best Buys in the UK where you are?
We got a few others.
You got other stores? Yeah, so if you could go to a store and buy a thermostat right now to put on your wall so that you can just talk to your Xbox or your computer or wherever, say, hey, Cortana, turn my temperature up a couple degrees. Like, I don't know about you, but I would go and buy that today, right? I mean,
you might need to make a purchase. Let's see here.
Is that available?
I'm trying to think here. There are some smart devices actually can use an Xbox to control them.
But is it Cortana? Is it unified? Right? It can't be its own proprietary system. It has to be the Holy Grail.
It's like it's a universe. I think. I'm trying to think here. I'll have to do some research and tell you about it. Shopping. Yeah, there is one. It's like a universal app on the Xbox, but I think you want it on other things.
Okay. Yeah. See that gets back to it being a proprietary system, and yeah. So you would have to take the time to install that app on all your devices, and then it doesn't work with all products.
So Jonathan, I think you're right. Jonathan says Ecobee.
Oh, Ecobee. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're a big one. So I'll need to see. Okay, I'll check out Ecobee, because if that's true, I'll be making a YouTube review on that very soon.
I'll send you some links of things that I'll look them up. Obviously, have more time. I don't think it'd be a very fun podcast. Just watch me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's. Yeah, I think it's interesting. When it comes to these devices, and we've said this before. Cortana could be good. You're gonna have to be able to do specific tasks. Start getting locking devices, restarting. Microsoft's not. It's gonna get better.
Yep, absolutely. Very cool.
All right, well, it's not. But we also have some 3D related news to talk about this week.
So yet another I was actually shocked when I saw this one, because there's actually, I don't know if you know this, but there's already 2 other 3D viewer apps on the Windows Store, both of which you can get on the HoloLens. So this is yet another 3D preview app that allows you to import 3D models and look at them. And these are all actually published by Microsoft. So when I saw this, I was like, another one? Like, we don't need any more. We just need them to be unified. So I did look at it, and it's pretty cool. You know, you can import your 3D models. You can look at it. It doesn't work on the HoloLens, which I was a little bit bummed about. But the HoloLens does have its own 3D viewer app. I really think they should have been the same app. They should have merged them together. So it might be one of those cases where Microsoft's really big and there's teams working on the same thing. Not sure how this happened, but yeah, I think it's cool. I think we need more and more apps we need not more and more apps. We need an app that's really powerful for viewing 3D objects across devices, right?
Left.
What's that?
Not more apps.
Yes, not more apps. We need one really good app that's the same. So I'm so I was shocked to see that, and I think it's great to have that additional capability. But my hope is that they would get rid of some of these redundant apps and combine them all to have one really good app.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this is in line with the Windows 10 Creators Update with the focus on 3D. Getting it so that when you scan stuff with your phone in 3D, what we saw a demo on that a few weeks ago, you have a place to actually look at your 3D model. Oh, I didn't even mention, then there's Paint 3D, so you can also import your models into Paint 3D and modify them. See, I think all of that can all be done in one app. We shouldn't have to have 3 different apps to deal with 3D files, right?
Yeah, I would think not.
Yeah.
But we do. But alas, we do.
So not too much to talk about on that, but yeah, I think just something fun. I think if nothing else, it's a good pointer that Microsoft's really doubling down on 3D on Windows, which I think is fun. It's a fun direction.
This thing that when I think about all this technology, 2 years from now, when it's common, we are more laptops integrated with Windows. And the more we see Windows, and the more we'll see people supporting it, and the more for not just logging into your PC, but making payments, various things in terms of identification. Fingerprint scanner or a camera scanner or whatever, the more we see Windows load it, and then it took some time, and then it took a generation for, and then another generation for more devices to have it.
Yep.
Seeing that more and more and more.
Yeah.
Well, I think with some of these new technologies that we're talking about, the most exciting. Someone said in the comments earlier, I wish Microsoft would publish a roadmap. And my response would be, they have literally titled, like, Microsoft's roadmap.
Yeah.
And they have this, this plan. I think for a while they kind of had their hands in so many different places by Skype, and then it wouldn't get integrated with anything. And then later you saw Microsoft Teams. How they would buy this, and they would make that, and you'd say, what are all these doing? The phones are over here, and they look like PCs, but they're not super connected, and what in the world's RT? Funnel is being made. I think any new thing that Microsoft today, or any time in the future, is with the plans of the rest of the Windows 10 vision.
Yep.
I don't think we're going to see too many technologies where you say this has no, Beam. They purchased Beam. Well, that's all into other. They bought that with a vision in mind, and then you saw they're going to put that into Windows.
Yeah. They're
going to build some apps on Xbox. They're going to build this in here. They have this vision. Really excited about where Microsoft's going to be. This kind of last show of the year, maybe we talk about the future a bit or a I'm really excited. I'm so happy that Microsoft is what I cover, because I think their technology app is really going places. They're not perfect. They're not there yet. And we've always joked about soon.
Yeah.
This vision's going really well.
Yep. Absolutely. Exciting stuff.
It is. So a few other things that tie into that is Project Evo.
Yes.
Project Evo, we got some more details coming out this week. Some of them aren't exactly new, but things to talk about. And then this will link into one of your stories as well. But, it's for Cortana. I think that's a big one in terms of functionality. They talk about how they want to get improved biometric identification to improve Windows Hello. That's another thing is Evo, we don't have a ton of details yet, but, they're talking Windows 10. I think it's just going to make it much more. It's going to work across multiple different things. One thing that they talked about.
Yep.
Under this, they want to have more affordable head-mounted display.
Yep.
You care about.
Yep. Exactly.
So what they're doing. Somebody said, I think they have a really good plan. They're unifying Windows 10 together, and all these different finally coming and integrating with each other.
Yep.
And then I think Project Evo is to enhance it together. They invested in AR and VR And then now you see they want to improve that there and make it affordable. They've invested in how to make it so she can compete by coordinating with your home. So
Yep.
I think it's really good things right now.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's really interesting. It's Microsoft's a big company, and for them to try and wrangle all of this, these initiatives and these technologies, it's not a small undertaking. It's quite a big feat. But they're doing a great job. They used to be very, very, fragmented, but I think we're starting to see, especially in the last couple of years, a grand unification. And yeah, it's not easy. I used to be part of, much smaller company. One was 3,000 people, the other was 2,000, and there was a lot of fragmentation, even in a company of that size. So yeah, I take my hat off to them for trying so hard.
And they're not perfect. I mean, every once in a while, I still think pretty independently from each other.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying that they're moving in the. I still think Skype is still running around a little bit independently, but they're the teams and they're working on. Skype preview does look nice. Working on bringing these all together.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, it's the time I think to cover micro.
Yep.
I have something I want to talk about when it comes to a quote where they're saying that the Scorpio, Project Scorpio, when it's obviously we'll cover that, but for now Scorpio says it's going to have a console price. They want it to have a console price, and I'm curious what you think that means. Some of these rumored specs and reported specs on the Project Scorpio makes me maybe they're talking about a pretty expensive console price.
Yeah. So the comment came, if I remember correctly, because somebody said, "Will Project Scorpio," which for everyone who doesn't know, that's the next Xbox that's going to be coming out. Will Project Scorpio compete with desktop gaming? Those high-end rigs, kind of what serious gamers spend thousands and thousands of dollars on, right? And the response by the Xbox team, I think Phil Spencer, was that no, it's not going to compete with desktop gaming because it's going to be priced at the console price. Is that right, Sean?
Right.
I think that was
Yeah,
kind
I
of,
think that's the gist of what he's saying. Yeah, good pull.
yeah. So I think that if you read between, the way I interpreted that was that no, Project Scorpio, yes, it's going to be powerful, but it's not going to replace your $6,000 gaming PC setup. Right? I don't know. Or was it more of maybe more of a comment on it's not going to be super expensive compared to.
Well, Microsoft's got a hard line to pull with projects, and they do want it to compete a bit with especially if it's going to be running Windows 10 Store apps.
Uh-huh.
If someone buys Forza Horizon 3 and that they get it on both they'll want to run the Windows 10 4K version on the X. And if you can do that on Project Scorpio, they need to sell it like that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they do price-wise to console level entry stuff. But they also have 1S that came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming out next year. 1S came out. Be console priced.
Yeah.
Or the Xbox One S device, which is a bit of an odd choice to make. Why would you even try and invest in some gear?
Yep. Yeah. That's
So I don't know. I
interesting.
too, because we don't know all the specs either. So it's a bit hard.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I think it's what we know so far, which I don't know all the details, but from my memory, I think it's supposed to be quite powerful. It's supposed to be 4K. It's supposed to handle 4K gaming, and it's supposed to be able to handle virtual reality. Although Phil Spencer said that virtual reality won't be a focus of Project Scorpio until it's a little bit more mature, whatever that
Right.
means.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, what if they brought Windows 10 full emulation to the Xbox One? No, I'm just kidding.
You can now edit
Maybe
spreadsheets on
someday.
the
I just want
Xbox.
Office on my Xbox. Is that so much to ask?
Excel. I need to work from home on my Xbox. No, seriously, boss.
I've always wanted to sell the Xbox as the perfect universe. You buy your kid an Xbox for Christmas, they can use it for Office, browsing the web, and gaming, and Skype. Perfect gift for you. But yeah, no, I think that, let's see, what you can buy Xbox One S in the States for, I think, $249.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it went down to 199 during one of the Black Friday sales or something. But yeah, it's pretty low compared to when the Xbox first came out.
So when the Xbox first came out, it was over 400. It was between 4 and 5.
I think it was 499 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose if they said the Xbox One 80p, and by then it'll probably be about $150, or you can buy $9 and you get 4K and all this other stuff. I guess that's where it leaves room for both. Particularly because they're not going to leave. They've said things like games that come out are going to be able to run on both. So maybe there's room for both, but
Yep.
$100 is a big price jump. So they theoretically could do that.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
Related to Xbox, but not next year, actually relating to right now, there's a new app that I'm sure you're pretty excited about.
The Xbox streaming app.
Yeah.
So this is pretty exciting. This is Xbox virtual reality streaming to the Oculus Rift. Pretty exciting. Now, unfortunately, I was super excited when I saw it. I was like, whoa, Xbox virtual reality to the Oculus Rift. And then I looked at the video, and then I was a little bit more bummed because although it is still really exciting, you're not immersed inside the game and seeing everything in 3D. What you're doing is you're seeing a massive, like, 100-foot screen in front of you, or however big you want the screen to be. So it's as if you have, like, a home theater, so you can sit on the sofa. Instead of watching your TV, you're watching a gigantic screen in Oculus Rift. So not quite as interesting as actually being in the game, immersed, like you're the person in the game, but still pretty cool. It's pretty much what the HoloLens can do right now, is what it is.
Right, but it's like you've said before. It's like if the HoloLens over the front.
It's sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
It's like the HoloLens if you blacked out.
Yes. Yeah.
And
If right now I put a blanket over my HoloLens and did Xbox streaming, I would have the same exact experience. So it's.
Well, actually, let me ask you something.
Uh-huh.
I bet your field of view would be better on the Oculus Rift in this case.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a virtual.
Yep. Yep.
So that probably would be better.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as resolution, so the way it works would be the same. Not the same, okay, but the way it works would be almost the same. The Oculus Rift definitely has, as far as I know, a much higher resolution than the HoloLens, and the Oculus Rift has a better field of view than the HoloLens. Also, what I saw in the video is that you could have it kind of curve in front of you.
Right,
so it's not
I'm
just,
watching it now.
Yeah, so it's not just a flat screen on a wall like what you can do with the HoloLens, but you can actually have it curve around you, which I think is pretty cool. So better resolution, better screen, not so transparent. And also the HoloLens things look more like holograms. They're slightly, I guess, hued in a sense. But the Oculus Rift would, of course, have much better color accuracy. So yeah, I think it's cool. What I really want is true virtual reality in the Xbox, where you're actually the character and you're in the world, not just.
Well, I have good news for you, Sean. I think that's probably here with the Project Scorpio, isn't it?
That's it's gonna have that capability. Yeah, so it's up to game developers.
It'll at least be an option.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm watching the video now, and obviously having not experienced it myself, they're showing here resizing the virtual screen inside of Oculus.
Yep.
I would almost say that looking at it here, it looks like we're watching a movie in the cinema.
Exactly.
And then they went to IMAX.
Exactly.
I think that's the change now. It's if you took your Xbox game on a virtual one, it looks like straight IMAX.
So yeah, I think you hit it on the nail. So imagine plugging in your Xbox into an IMAX movie theater and going and sitting in the IMAX auditorium. That's That's what this does, except you're in a virtual world.
Great.
Yeah.
Man, I want to play some. I want to play some games.
Yep. So we're almost out of time, and we still have a lot to cover.
I suppose. Yeah. Let's see. Then.
What's that?
Do you want to talk about the Surface Hub then?
Actually, before, if I could just quickly mention the new VR headsets that are coming out.
Yeah, sure. Okay, sure. Yeah.
So since we're talking about VR, so I've got some screenshots to show here. So for those of you watching live, so you can actually see these are what was announced at Win HTC or Win HEC last just a few days ago, really. So we've heard about these coming. This was announced during the creators updates. There's a slew of new virtual reality headsets that are coming, all running on Windows Holographic, which is the same exact operating system as the HoloLens. This is really cool because these devices, unlike the HoloLens, they're going to be a lot less expensive. We're talking about like $299. And what's really cool is any app that anyone is developing for the HoloLens right now will also work on these other devices. So we talked about it a little bit last week. It's going to have inside-out tracking, which means you'll be able to actually see, even though these are opaque devices like virtual reality, you'll still be able to see an outline of your entire space, so you don't bump into your sofa or bump into a wall or a table. All the tracking is going to be on the headset. And I think that's going to be the killer feature of these, because that's something the Oculus doesn't do, HTC Vive doesn't do, none of the other headsets really do this. So that's really going to be the killer feature. Also, you can see the three that are shown here that's not the HoloLens, they're all tethered, so you'll have to plug them into the computer to get them to work. So pretty exciting stuff. It's all about lowering the barrier to consumers. It's all about Microsoft pushing really, really, really hard on virtual reality and mixed reality and lowering the price point. And I think I'm really excited about what they're doing. I think it's going to be awesome. You can see. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I think it's a good marketing thing as well, or not market. It's a good strategy because one of the reasons that Microsoft dominance in the PC market is because you have devices using an operating system. Well, when you have this Windows 10 holographic, then all these different can make different price points. You can have the super high-end virtual reality where the resolution and people are just living their entire life in a virtual world.
Yeah.
And level one for only a couple $100.
Yeah.
But it's running Windows 10 holographic. Part of Microsoft to get ahead of the ball on this one and say, hey, all you do whatever you want, that's great. We're AR, that's fine. You make this one, you make that one. Use our tech, hardware. I think that's great, and I think it helps the user, and I think it also helps and that's great.
Yep. And so I got another slide up here that was taken at the conference. By the way, I didn't actually go to the conference, but yeah, these are stuff that was posted. You can see that even though the three that were not a HoloLens in the previous image were tethered, you can see that they do have plans for untethered, tethered, opaque, and see-through. So the HoloLens is untethered and see-through. It's augmented reality. It's wireless. But then you do have, there are going to be also see-through headsets that are tethered. There's going to be virtual reality headsets which are opaque. Some are tethered, some are not tethered. So really, the whole spectrum, there's going to be devices across the whole spectrum, which is super exciting.
I think it's great. I think it's, and it, like I said, it gives people a diversity to go.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
So we can jump to the Surface Hub now if you want to.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I got that in. So the Surface Hub, I think this was I think this is one of the first time we're hearing some solid numbers about the Surface Hub. Apparently the demand for the Surface Hub has been a lot bigger than what Microsoft has anticipated. They've shipped the Surface Hub to over 2,000 customers in 24 markets. So I'm assuming that means 24 countries. And each each customer on average orders 50 units, and some orders as much as 1,500 units. So that's a lot of Surface Hubs. That's a lot more than what
hold on a second here. If you have I'm not going to do the.
I'll do the math.
50 unit average.
Yep.
But when you've had orders as big as 50, it's going to skew your average quite a bit.
So let's assume 50, just a 50 average across the board. That's 100,000 Surface Hubs that's been shipped. 100,000.
Yeah. Number though. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm just saying that if you have one company order units, you could have 29 other companies order one each and still have the average be 50 among those.
Yeah.
but in any event, if I did the math wrong, but the point is and it's a lot more than they probably expected.
Yep. Yeah, it is. They said it exceeded their expectations, so I think that's pretty interesting.
Of their production, Microsoft seems to have a history of its devices are going to be successful.
And the Surface Hub, I've never actually. I've seen one in real life. I've never actually spent a lot of time with one. But if you think about it, the Surface Hub was really the genesis of the entire Surface project. Because back at the very beginning, the very first Microsoft Surface was actually a Surface Hub. This was
Pixel Sense thing.
Yeah, They renamed it to Pixel Sense to kind of change, make sure that they differentiate the products. But yeah, the original Microsoft Surface was actually something that looks a lot like the Surface Hub.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty fun
Full
stuff.
circle.
Yes. So,
Really, Surface. There aren't a lot of Microsoft devices that aren't going to have the Surface brand name at some point.
I wonder if that's what Microsoft is unifying. One of the things that all their hardware around the Surface name.
Well, I think if they do that, it needs to be premium, and it needs to people use of what a Surface phone would look like, and look at that. They put a kickstand on it or whatever. No, Surface needs to be like the Surface and the Surface Pro and the Surface Book, where it brings something new. It's premium. What a form factor could be. And I think the only hardware that we're probably not going to attach to is going to be the Xbox. I think that'll obviously stay Xbox. But I think over the time you'll have desktop, laptop, 2-in-1, and most of us are assuming some sort of a phone.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot, there you go. And a Surface Hub. So that's the premium line. It's kind of except to, in my opinion, a much higher standard, because you can get lower end Galaxies, but that name and attach it to the thing. Microsoft's being a lot more strict with what they use the Surface name with.
Yep. If they do release a Surface phone, they have to do it right. It has to be. It can't just be another Lumia or HP high-end phone, because those are not interesting, in my opinion. I know a lot of people might kill me for saying that, but it needs to be. It needs to be something really, really good. Oh, by the way, if they do release a phone that has full Windows 10, that means you can download an Android emulator.
Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering. How it is BlueStacks integrate to the point where I could just dual. It would have a subsystem of my phone.
That's the first thing I'm gonna try. I
honestly, I think that download it, you sync your accounts, and then you try to get an Android emulator.
The first thing.
Maybe that's their way around it. You ever think of that?
Yeah.
Microsoft's a bit you said this. There are game emulators on Windows 10 Mobile and Windows 10 on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And there are Android emulators on PC, but not on.
Yeah.
So what if this is the way around it?
I think it is. Yeah, I'm excited.
Maybe someday.
Yes. All right. Well, I think we're about out of time.
I think so.
Man,
All right, then. Well, I guess we'll wind up then. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sorry about my picture, by the way, cutting out. Just, I guess, bad internet or bad connection on Skype, whatever it is. But we appreciate you joining, whether it was live on our YouTube channel or you're listening to the rebroadcast on YouTube or SoundCloud or any podcast platform that you're listening on. As always, you can find me on Twitter. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sean Michael. You can find me on Twitter at Sean_Michael_UK. And our other co-host is Sean Ung. You can find him on Twitter
at Sean_Ong.
And you can also check out his YouTube channel as well. He's got all sorts of videos, including if he finds a thermostat he really likes.
Yes, Ecobee. I'm going to check that out for sure.
Yeah, there's a few people mentioned them. So you might have everybody tweeted Sean. Well, not everybody.
Yeah,
but
please,
a few people
please tweet me. Tweet me the device names and links so that I can look into it. Thanks.
Yeah, and he'll take a look there. Always check out On Microsoft for your latest Microsoft and Windows 10 related news. Just a reminder, this is our last podcast of the year. We're going to be taking a few weeks off for holiday and travel and that sort of thing. So we'll be back next year. We'll make sure to post a few days in advance and then also on the day of as well, so you don't miss when we come back.
That's right. All right.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.